Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Man, listen, I got some tea for y'all today. Um, I have exactly 15 minutes to talk about this National Fraud Enforcement Division. So, um, let me wait a few. I'm gonna wait until some people join me. I'm gonna wait about 3 minutes. It's 12:50. No, I need to go on and get started now. I'll leave it up for replay for those of you that want to watch the full live because I don't have a lot of time, but I do want to share this information with you all about this new division. So, I'm going to break down something that just happened on April 7th, and it is going to impact business owners, tax professionals, and taxpayers, and basically anyone that's handling taxpayer funded money. On April 7th of this year, the Department of Justice announced the creation of the National Fraud Enforcement Division. So, this is not just another government update, okay? This is a shift in how fraud is going to be investigated and prosecuted moving forward. So the Department of Justice has always gone after fraud. This isn't something new. Um, but what they said in the memo that they released is important, and I want to share it with you all. So they have never coordinated a centralized approach to fraud involving taxpayer dollars. Now they do. So what they're doing is why they're doing this is because fraud is increasing, of course, and not just because of what happened during COVID with the PPP and now the ERC issues, but they have over $1 trillion per year at risk in fraud. And of course, fraud schemes like the fraudsters, that they're always coming up with something new, and the government has to catch on. So now the fraud schemes that are getting more sophisticated, the government is going to be ready for these sophisticated fraud schemes that people are creating every year. So this new division is going to investigate fraud that's involving taxpayer money. They're going to prosecute those cases more aggressively, and they are going to coordinate across federal, state, and local agencies. So they're also going to use advanced tools to detect fraud. Of course, AI is going to be involved with that. So that means that they are also creating a national fraud detection center. This center will actively identify fraud and generate the leads for them. So that means that they are no longer waiting on cases. They are going to find cases that's dealing with fraud. So, what's really going on right now is a big shift in the fraud industry. This is where I want you all to pay attention. This division is not just going after the large multi-million dollar fraud cases. They have made this very clear that they are going after fraud at every level. So, small to large. That means that they are going to increase is going to increase risk for small businesses and small dollar cases. So if you receive that $20,000, that little funky $20,000 PPP loan, they might be coming after you too. They're not just going after the big sharks. They made it clear now. I'm telling you, in the memo, they said this specifically: smaller and large cases. That is a major shift that you all need to be paying attention to. And coordination is another key thing that I want you all to understand. What used to be handled locally now can become federal very fast. The Department of Justice is coordinating with federal agencies, federal and local law enforcement, and benefit program administrators. So, what this means is more visibility, more sharing of information between government entities, and faster escalation because of that. They also have more enforcement because of more resources. So the resources that they are putting in place is they are getting more prosecutors, more investigators, and more technology. So they specifically stated in the memo that they will provide state-of-the-art tools to detect fraud. And with the Fraud Detection Center generating leads, more cases will be identified earlier. So this is where things get serious, though. This is not just about criminal enforcement. They are also coordinating with the civil division. That means that they could businesses, smaller businesses too, could face more subpoenas, more civil penalties, more funding freezes, and criminal charges, all at the same damn time because of the resources that they have. So what used to be handled as a civil issue can now be treated as a criminal issue, especially in cases like payroll tax cases, the ERC claims, and the PPP loans, and healthcare and benefits program. So when I was doing my research on this, I had no idea how bad healthcare fraud is in the health industry. It wowed me. Like, I knew about healthcare fraud, but I didn't know that it was this bad. So in addition to tax fraud, I'm going to start discussing more healthcare fraud information too, because those of you that are in the health industry that's doing this healthcare fraud, they coming after you all too. So this division is not just for taxes, it's for healthcare. And I think I read that it's for nonprofit programs as well, because those programs are being abused. Right now, we are operating in a new environment where documents matter more than ever. Internal controls matter more than ever. Decision making matters more than ever. And who you hire, who you work with, matters more than ever. Once they start looking at everything. For instance, if they are auditing or if they're looking at a tax return to determine if it was fraudulent and they're only looking for that 1 year, they can open up other years as well. So just make sure all your stuff is clean before that period and after that period that they are looking into. Before I go, I want to share with you the statute of limitations, because people think that because their PPP loans happened back in 2020 and 2021. Let's talk about the statute of limitation that was extended by Congress for the PPP loan. So the PPP loan, the Paycheck Protection Program, for those of you that aren't familiar, you had to be living under the rock if you don't know what the PPP loan program is. The PPP loan actually, the statute actually extended 10 years, and that's for both civil and criminal. So Congress, this happened back in 2022. So you had to be living on the rock too if you didn't know that. But back in 2022, Congress did extend the statute of limitations for PPP loan to 10 years. So that's giving the government more time to come after those that thought that they got away with those PPP loans. For ERC is a little different because the audit timelines vary because it depends on like the quarters and the years. Some of those claims are already closed, but others, especially if it was like in the one of those 2021 claims, they can still be audited for up to 5 to 6 years. And if fraud is involved, of course, there is no statute of limitations if fraud is involved. So that means that these cases are not going away anytime soon. If you committed any of these frauds, or if you didn't receive money because of an application that you submitted on behalf of yourself, even if you were just the promoter, and the promoter is the person that actually completed and submitted these applications, they're coming after you too. So be very cautious. If you still got some of that PPP loan money or the ERC money left, please put you at least $25,000 to the side so you can get great representation, because you're going to need it. Okay. What you all should know: if you are a tax professional or a business owners, you need to review your filings to make sure that your paperwork is in order and correct. Make sure your documentation is complete. Understand your exposure if you fall in the line of anything that I just shared with you. And do not wait until enforcement begins. And I know that's kind of like a catch-22, but if you know that you receive 50, 60, 100, 200, 500, if you know you received all that money, please, whatever you got left, if it's not at least $25,000, you better start selling some of that shit that you was buying, all that luxury stuff that you bought, so you can get a great representative to represent you, because you cannot and you better not talk to these people by yourself or try to represent yourself. And they don't want to hear I didn't know, because yeah, that's like the oldest excuse in the book. They're not going for I didn't know anymore, because you knew that you were not entitled to $100,000. So let's just be clear and honest about that. I didn't know, or such and such told me. That's not gonna cut it. Okay. What makes me excited about all of this? Now, let me be clear. I'm not excited that more people are about to be indicted and prosecuted and sentenced. I'm excited because the IRS War Room training that we are having in June in Atlanta, this is why I created that training, because I saw all of this coming. I have received so many audits, like record breaking audits this year alone, and we are only in mid-April, and I have met my financial goals for the third quarter already. That's because of all the audits that I've received. Um, in the IRS War Room, we dive deep into high risk cases like these, and I train you all how to work cases like these. Audit cases is what I'm speaking of. So, if you have not already submitted your application to be considered for the IRS War Room, because we are picking a certain amount of people, um, please go ahead and submit your applications. The final round will be this Friday. I need to find out the exact time though, because something came up for me with one of my kids on Friday. So I won't be able to do the briefing Friday morning. So we may have to push that to Saturday morning. Or the following Monday morning. I'll let you all know. It depends on how my schedule works out. But I just wanted to jump on and share that news with you all about this new fraud division. Things are getting more and more serious in the fraud industry. And again, this is not just for tax. This is for healthcare fraud as well, because obviously I've been living under a rock, because I had no idea that healthcare fraud was as bad and as serious as it is. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and when I get some time, I'll respond. I'll comment back on it to try to answer you all questions. That is my time. I got to get back to work. Peace. Fraud around and find out. I'm releasing my new gear. Fraud around and find out. I'll give y'all some more details on that the end of this week. Y'all have an amazing day. Happy last day of tax filing to my tax professionals. I prayed for y'all the entire tax season. Have an amazing day. Peace.